Hi, I'm Horatio Alexander with the Black Tie Comedy Troupe, and I'm on the search for the keys to comedy. Each month I'll interview a different local artist in order to find the keys I seek. Welcome to Tie Talks. This month I'm interviewing local playwright Francesca Sanders, author of many published and unpublished works that have been performed in various locales out in and out of Portland, such as Missouri, New York, and even India. Some of her works include I Become a Guitar, To Wait in Heavy Harness, and Celeste and Starla Save Todd and Win Back the Day, which I very much enjoyed.
Good, thanks.
So we're just going to start out with, Francesca, many of your plays take a humorous spin on something that we are already familiar with, and either that or they stretch reality to make something illogical logical. Which have you found to be a more effective comedy method?
Well, comedy is just, pain plus time. That's what comedy is. So, given that, there's just so many different ways that comedy can go. Like, sometimes we laugh at people that we really, really relate to and we know what they're going through. I have not seen the movie Horrible Bosses, but what I hear is that part of the reason people laugh is because they've had horrible bosses. And, they've been there. They have some empathy for the situation. So part of it is that. And part of it, I think, is that people might disagree with me, but in a certain kind of way, I think with comedy you can have more imagination. Not that you can't have imagination with drama, and certainly we all, great plays do have imagination, and you have to imagine characters. But with comedy, for example, in Celeste and Starla, for those people who don't know it, of course, Starla is a starfish with a multi-million-dollar cosmetic contract. So we can take from that's not. We don't know many starfish that have, their own multi-million-dollar cosmetics contracts. So, we can laugh about that. It's quirky. It's a little bit of whimsy. So I just think comedy works in a lot of different ways. But the main thing is we have to be connected to the person. That's the first thing. That's more important than even something funny happening, is that we can relate to what this person's going through.
Excellent. I understand that your play, To Wait in Heavy Harness, had its worldwide debut in Bangalore, India?
Yes, yes.
Were there cultural differences that factored in?
It was one of the few things I have not seen. I didn't get to go to India.
Oh.
They're a small theater. They're the Little Theater of Bangalore. And so I didn't get to go. So I shouldn't actually speak to that. But I've met people who went to that.
Okay.
So I've gotten feedback from it, but I actually myself didn't get to go. So maybe we'll move on.
To hear that.
I've seen almost everything else, but not that.
What do you feel is your greatest accomplishment?
I think my greatest accomplishment is being in the theater and still being in the theater, because as you know, it's not something simple. It's complicated to be in the theater, or in a comedy troupe, or in any kind of the performing arts. It's especially hard since 2008, since 2009, since 2010. I'm not speaking personally, but I'm just saying the economy is bad, and we don't teach children to go to the theater. We don't teach children to enjoy comedy. We don't teach children to understand Death of a Salesman. We don't do it, and so consequently, there are those of us that are very drawn to it, and that's great. But when I was a kid, just as part of school, there would be, concerts. You could go, hear Beethoven. You could go to plays, and it was part of your school day. They don't have that anymore. So just being a theater artist in these days and times, and continuing to get productions and continuing to move forward is my greatest accomplishment. It may not seem like it, but it is actually my greatest accomplishment.
Oh, that's great to hear. Before you take a play to the stage, how do you know if it's going to be funny or not?
That's really interesting. It's interesting because there are plays, great plays, that you read and you go, well, that's clever, and then you see it and it's hysterical. Mm-hmm. And vice versa. There are plays you read and you go, wow, that's the funniest thing I ever saw. But unless it can translate, the tone is the most important thing in comedy. If we were to read, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, which is not a comedy, although some maintain it is, but, and we were to read it in a particular tone, we would feel a certain thing. If you were to take a funny play, if you were to take, sort of a classic comedy, let's say You Can't Take It With You, and everyone were to behave in a certain tone, it's not funny. Or even like amusing, because they just didn't get the tone right. Mm-hmm. I have a play called Galaxy Blink, and the tagline for that play, if you would say, is, would you invite a serial killer into your home if it would save your marriage? Now, if they don't get the tone of that right, mm-hmm. if they don't realize it's a dark comedy, if they're trying to perform it as though, this situation is very naturalistic and real and whatever, if they don't understand that, then then they miss the point, mm-hmm. and it's not funny. So tone is the most important thing, setting that tone for what's to come. And you can do that a variety of different ways. Obviously if you start out and the first thing you say is, I'm making this up, so, like, I am made of blubber, I walk on my head, and I'd like to invite you into my home. People are like, okay, this is not a drama. Something is a little weird going on here. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm primed. I'm ready to laugh. Whereas if I said, I'm sorry to hear your mother died. Now maybe ultimately in a certain kind of play that would be funny or, whatever, but we're not primed to laugh at that.
Right. We don't have the setup.
So it's setting that tone is the most important thing in comedy.
That's
I
good
think.
To know. Do you have any advice for would-be comedy writers?
Just don't censor yourself. Just don't censor yourself. Because I wrote a 24-hour play, so you mm-hmm. stay up all night, write the play for the actors that are there, and that 24-hour play is one of the strangest things I've ever written. It has actually won me quite a bit of money and, gotten me flown places, and it's a short play, which that doesn't usually happen. Usually shorter plays, like, they might get done in an evening of plays and you might get $20, but this has actually, been quite nice for me. And, it all started because I said to them, well, are there any tricks you can do, like, that I should know about? Like, can you yodel? Or, like, is there something I should put in? And they said, no. And then the gentleman said, no. I said, what? And he said, I was a ventriloquist as a kid, but I said, do you have a dummy? And he goes, well, yeah. I was like, could you go home and get it? He goes, well, yeah, but that's not going to happen, right? And I said, I don't know, but that sounds interesting to me, so I just think it's a matter of, really just going there and seeing what happens. And just if you type, something and you look down at it and you're like, I have no idea what that means. That shouldn't worry you at all. Yeah. I mean, when I first wrote the beginning of Celeste and Starla, I'm like, hi, this is my starfish. I took my hands off the keys and went, what? What? A starfish? What are you talking about? But then I just said, okay, just trust that. I don't know what that means, but let's investigate. Because you can always delete. So go as far afield as you'd like to go. If you want to write about, a piece of bologna that sings or something, write about it. Because you can always, erase it. But just trust in yourself. You're writing something for a reason. So just trust that you're going to get there. Even if you don't know where it is you're going at the time that you write it. Even if it's a starfish. Yeah.
That's great advice. I actually will use that. That's very helpful.
Yeah.
What's your favorite joke?
I only tell one joke, and you sort of have to be Jewish in order to fully get it. And so if you tell it in a room full of Jews, they think it's the most hysterical thing that's ever happened. And if you tell it to other people, they go, I don't even understand that. I don't get it. So I'll tell you my joke.
Okay.
You ready? So a flasher walks up to a little Jewish grandmother, opens his coat, right? He's naked, obviously. And she goes, ugh, you call that a lining? That's my favorite joke. Now, if you know that, they like high quality, like, she could care less that he's naked, but it's like, ugh, you call that a lining? Yeah, I like that joke.
That's funny.
Yeah. That's my favorite joke.
That's a great joke.
Well, and you learn something about comedy there, because that's the funny thing. You misdirect. It's like somebody says, I hate you. And of course you expect the other person to go, oh no, or what's wrong, or whatever. And if instead they say, I love that about you, then we think that's sort of funny. We can misdirect in that fashion.
Sounds like a key to comedy to me.
Yes.
Are you currently working on anything?
I am. Oh, sorry, the door just opened. And, sorry about the distraction. I am currently writing a play called Singular Precipitation. And I just finished a play called The Futurist. And so I'm editing that play, getting that play ready, and writing another play called Singular Precipitation.
No rest for you, huh?
No rest for me, no. No. And I just got back from Houston, where I had a workshop of Galaxy Blink, the play I talked about the serial killer.
Excellent.
Yeah. Because why not? Serial killers are people, too.
They are. They are indeed. If a movie were made about your life, who would you like to see play you?
Holy mamoli. I don't suppose Mother Teresa would. I was thinking along those lines, but no, I guess. I have no idea.
Really?
I have no idea. Who would I want to play me? I don't know. Somebody with too much energy. I don't know. I have no idea who that would be. But yes, somebody odd and with too much energy. Ellen DeGeneres. She could play me. That would be fun.
It'd be fun.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gay.
Would you make
but,
her? Would you make her dye her hair?
No. She could just be. I was blonde as a child.
Oh,
It's
really?
all good. It's all good. Yeah.
Well then.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the questions we have, except we'd like to know who you would recommend for our next interview.
I recommend the Third Floor Comedy Troupe because I think they're amazing, fascinating, and do amazing, great work, and I've always laughed my head off anytime I've ever seen them. That's who I recommend.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
This has been Tie Talks with Horatio Alexander and Francesca Sanders, and next month, we'll be trying to get a hold of the Third Floor Comedy Troupe.